Hello, I'm Joseph Hoffman, and in this lesson, we'll be analyzing the form of Scherzo, the third movement from Piano Sonata No. 9 by Haydn. I'll also share some tips for playing Scherzo with your best artistry. Let's get started by checking out the score. Okay, let's figure out the form of this movement. In music, we always call the first section A. So we'll start with our A section, but how do we know where a section ends? The easiest clue is to look for a cadence, where things come to rest. At the end of a section is a cadence, and we feel the biggest cadence so far. Notice how the music kind of has the feel of a period at the end of a sentence there. That's where that musical idea is done. A repeat sign can be another clue that a section is ending. So we would call this our A section. Now we look at the new section and decide, is this the same or different? Haydn brings in a new theme here, so we would call this the B section. And then where does that section end? I feel a cadence right here. The left hand has some movement there, but you definitely get the idea of something coming to rest there. That's the end of the B section, and then what? We come back to the A section. Now, is it the same exact A section or a little different? That's right, it's a little different, which is why we'd put a little prime mark there to show that there's a little change. Starting here in measure 23, Haydn varies it a little bit, and then this section repeats. So if we were to put this all together, we have an A section that repeats, and then we have another section with a B and an A prime to show that's a little different that also repeats. And this is what we call rounded binary form. Binary form means two sections, generally that repeat, and in rounded binary, the key difference is in the second section, the original A comes back, sometimes in a varied form. Now, let's talk about playing Scherzo with artistry. For an artistic performance, it's important to keep in mind the era the piece was composed. Scherzo was composed in the classical era. Fast movements like Scherzo from the classical era should sound joyful, light, and charming. This means we'll want clean, sparkling 16th notes and crisp staccatos. To keep all the notes sounding crisp and clean, we almost never use damper pedal for playing music from the classical era. For this piece, just keep your foot away from that damper pedal. Now, let's come to the piano for some specific tips on playing Scherzo artistically. One of the most important elements of playing artistically is phrasing. Phrasing is the art of giving the notes a shape. Make it feel like they're moving, dancing. Where are these notes trying to go? For example, this very first phrase, I feel the notes trying to get to that top note. So I almost feel like they're moving, they're climbing, and when they hit that top note, they've hit a climax point. Don't play all the notes the same. Some notes are more important than others, so figure out where are the climax points, where are the notes trying to get. See how I kind of bring out that top note, and then here, if I played all the notes the same, hear how boring that is? Da 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 da. That just sounds like a robot. So notice how I grow to the middle of this phrase. Da 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 da. It builds up to the middle and then lightens up at the end. That's so much more beautiful than if I've just played all the notes the same and hammered it out. Now you try. Can you play that phrase and give it a shape? Let the notes surge forward and then back off. Now you try. How about this one? Can you start a little softer and then build up to that high C? Now you try. Now, another thing I like to do is here in measure 4, when we have these thirds, we're playing 2 notes at the same time and then they step down. Whenever a note steps down like that at the end of the phrase, it's very common to play the first one very strong and then the second one very soft. And that creates a lovely shape. Notice how pretty that is compared to if I played both the same loudness, it just sounds like a gorilla stomping its feet. See, I love that sound. The first one is very strong, so think down and drop down with arm weight, down, up. And that up helps create a nice, light, softer sound. Down for strength, down, up. Think down with the weight of your arms, down, up. Now you try. Measure 4. If you rather, you can just do hands alone or hands together, down, up. Now you try. Now, I won't go through the whole piece this way, but every phrase should have a shape. Figure out where the notes are trying to go. Another place to think about beautiful phrasing is here in the B section. Notice how I softened at the end of that phrase as I come down to the A and then float the wrist during the rest. And 1 E and a 2 E and a 1 E and a lift. And that lift not only creates the rest, but it also looks graceful. It relaxes the wrist and arm, and it will make you look really professional. Lift. Lift. It looks fancy, and it makes it sound good too. Now, in addition to phrasing, of course, we have the dynamics to think about. We also have voicing to think about. Voicing is the art of bringing out the melody and keeping the accompaniment really soft and in the background so our ears can enjoy that melody. I find it so ugly when I hear, see, those chords are so loud, they sound like stomping feet again. And we don't want that. We want dancing, light feet. I want you to listen and notice how soft. I'm trying to play the left hand pianissimo, sometimes pianissimo, and the right hand gets the spotlight. That's tricky to do. It's so much easier to play it the other ugly way. Now, to practice this, I've mentioned this before, but there's a trick called ghost playing. Your left hand is just going to touch the right notes, just like it's playing, but so lightly the keys aren't even going down. And maybe one will accidentally go down, and that's okay, because we're just training the hand to play so gently the notes don't even sound. And then once you can do that, it may feel really hard at first, then let the left hand just barely play. And you'll notice it creates this sparkling, beautiful sound when you accomplish it. To be artistically true to the classical style, make these staccatos just so crisp and light. And remember, keep your fingers close to the keys and just think a little teeny up, 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 up. That little lift helps the fingers come off the keys super fast. And we talked about this last time, but don't forget, as the left hand's playing in measures 9 through 13, this idea of rotation, just jiggling that door handle, that back and forth, really, really gently. Because remember, this is accompaniment, so we don't want it very loud. Just keep your fingers really close to the keys and just rock back and forth. And you'll notice this B section is marked mezzo piano, so it should just feel gentle and fun. And again, we're going to give this a shape, and then notice the crescendo mark. So we're building up to that cadence right there, and we're launching right back into the A section. So a big whoosh of energy right there. as you're practicing scherzo, don't forget what a great tool the metronome can be. Do a mix of slow, medium, and fast practice. With your slow, you can work on accuracy and really nailing each note confidently. With medium, you're, again, building that confidence. And then your fast practice, you're really going for it and thinking about your artistic playing, your shaping, your phrasing. Start with the speed you're really comfortable at, maybe just 80 for the eighth note. Maybe that's your slow speed, and then gradually build that up until you're at full performance speed. Thanks for learning with me today about the form of Scherzo by Haydn, along with how to play it artistically. Happy practicing, and see you next time.
Princess, guess what? What? I just found out about a symphony by Haydn with a really funny part. What do you mean? Well, there's a part where Haydn wrote something for the bassoon that sounds like an F-A-R-T. A fart? That's ridiculous. Haydn was a famous, respected classical composer, not a silly entertainer for kindergartners. Listen for yourself. Okay, I'll listen. Maestro, roll the music. Well, I see a smile. Okay, that was kind of funny. Are you kidding? It was hilarious. Pure musical comedy gold. Sheesh.